Hey everybody, it's Safi and Marco Dish Out on Movies, the only movie review show on YouTube to review movies in terms of food. And it's just Marco here once again to talk about Don't Let Her In, the newest full moon feature. Glad it's not Blade the Iron Cross, because that movie was abysmal. It was so it was so bad. We couldn't even review it. That's how bad it was. I mean, I rented it the opening day, and I was just stunned how bad it was. And this movie, fortunately, is a lot better. I was pleasantly surprised by this movie. Just to sort of recap the past with this director, obviously Ted Nicolau, I think that's how you say his name, hopefully. He directed Subspecies, and he also directed, what was it called? Vampire Journals. So, as a kid, I would go to Hollywood Video and rent horror movies, and I had no idea that Vampire Journals was a part of a series, and so I rented it because it was introduced by William Shatner, and that's the version that I watched. And for some reason, I would rent that movie like 2 or 3 times a year, and I enjoyed it for some reason. I thought it was boring in some places, but yeah, I still kind of liked it. I can't remember much about it though. And then later on, obviously, we reviewed Subspecies 1, and I thought it was basically Twilight, but with different actors. And I did not really like it that much. But still, I think that the director is actually a really good director. He's really good with horror. He's really good with vampires. He's really good. I don't know, he has this style that, like, it's a retro style. This movie, Don't Let Her In, even though it came out in 2021, it felt like it could have come out in the 80s or 90s. I mean, it really felt like that. It really felt, I mean, obviously they had some hip trends in there. They added some hip things in the script to make it more relevant and more modern. Like, they had some magic stuff, and obviously in the 80s you would have been like, ugh, that person's weird. And nowadays it's like, oh, I see women like that on Tinder all the time. And so I like this movie. I was pleasantly surprised about how good it was. It still had some issues. The first issue being the format of the movie. So this movie was released in 2 chapters. It was released last week on Monday. Chapter 1 came out, and this week Chapter 2 came out today, Monday. And so I don't like that at all, because it's like a TV show, and it's a movie. You know what I mean? Like, just release it all at once. Like, I'll pay the $7. I don't care. It's because you're still paying $7. I mean, last week I paid $3.99. This week I paid $3.99. So that's $8, whatever. So you're still paying the same amount that you'd pay if it was released all at once. So I think that was a retarded decision to split it in half. It makes no sense. Just release it all at once, because there are some things in the second half that really stood out as bad, and those things wouldn't have stood out so much if they were together with the first part. But yeah, let's go over the story first. It's all about this woman named Serena, and she moves into this apartment with Amber and the boyfriend. I can't remember the boyfriend's name. She yelled it over and over again. I can't remember. It's just, he wasn't in it as much. So I'm not giving anything away, obviously. It's just he wasn't in it as much. So that can mean anything. And anyway, she moves into this apartment. She's a magic girl. She's a weird girl. She's all about making green shakes that they have to drink every morning. And she's flirty, and then she starts doing other stuff, as you saw in the trailers. And yeah, it's all about that. And what is she? What's she about? What's her story? She's a weirdo. What's going on with Serena? A lot is going on, and it it started off really good. It had this slow burn feel for the first chapter, and I really liked that slow burn. I thought that it was well executed, and it entertained me. It didn't really have any flaws the first half, except for like one shot. It had this one shot in the first half where, spoiler alert, Serena shows her true colors for a moment, and there was too much lighting. I wish the lighting had been turned down to almost nothing, because the makeup, I really liked the makeup on Serena, but it didn't look that good in that shot, in that first shot where she shows herself to Amber in bed. And so I really think that should have been dimmed down, because that stood out to me as like the only thing. And there was this really funny thing that Serena would do. There was a lot of comedy in this too. There was a lot of comedy here and there, which I liked. You know, I don't like these movies that take themselves too seriously and they can't laugh once in a while. I don't like that unless it's really like intense, and you don't want to laugh, because you want to you want to resolve the situation. But she does this, Serena does this thing where she walks backwards, or she crawls backwards, and it was really funny. And in fact, the funniest part of the I would say the best part almost of the whole movie is in the credits. They had this thing where, like, I don't know if she filmed this separately, like on a green screen or something, or they animated her doing it, but she crawls onto screen and she's like, "Eee!" And she crawls onto screen and puts up this big Full Moon No 345 logo, and then she crawls backwards like, "Eee!" off the screen. That was hilarious. That was so hilarious. But yeah, and then the second half, of course, is where things really pick up. And one of the issues in the second half was Amber. Obviously, I liked the actress in the first half, but in the second half, she had several, I don't know if you'd say it's the lines or it's her, but they were some questionable lines. They were kind of goofy, and she was goofy saying them. And I don't know. I don't know if someone else could say it better. I don't know. Like you're a demon. You're a demon. Fuck you. You're a demon. Like these really goofy lines, and she was goofy because of that. And I think that was the biggest issue of the film overall, which is unfortunate, because if you had the first half with the second half, in the first half Amber was good. And so I would have been like, oh, Amber was pretty good. She had some goofy moments near the end, but she was still good throughout the... But now, since I had to watch the second half separately, it's sticking out more to me, because it's really one of the only things that I had an issue with in the whole film. And Serena, she was really good. She did a fantastic job. She's got a future in acting, for sure. I mean, they all do, but she really does, because she usually in movies nowadays where you have a female villain, I laugh it off tremendously. I mean, all the time you had that Dr. Sleep with that woman with the hat on, and she's like trying to be all villainous, and she's just, like, you can't take that seriously at all. But in this movie, you can take Serena seriously. She's a really, really good villain. She's fantastic. If they made a sequel, she would totally fit. It would totally work. And yeah, I would love to see more of Serena, because she did a really good job with the makeup, with everything. She did really good. And then with Amber, I liked her too. She did an okay job. She obviously did much better the first half than the second half, where she had some lines that were really goofy and sort of like, oh no, don't say that. Oh no, you're saying that? And then the boyfriend, I actually thought he was really good, but he wasn't given very much. He wasn't in the film that much, and I think that I'd like to see another movie with him where he's featured more, because in this movie it was more about Amber, it was more about Serena, it wasn't about him that much. And then of course you have another guy in the film who's really good as well. He had like one or two scenes here and there, and he was really good. I liked him a lot. He did a really good job it being his character. I don't want to spoil what character, but he did a good job considering how goofy and out of place he could have been. Like if you saw someone like him nowadays walking down the street, you'd be like, ha ha ha, what's that weirdo doing? But in this movie, he you can take him pretty seriously. He does a good job. I liked what he did. He didn't come off as goofy or anything. So I want to rate this movie and then get the spoilers already, because as you can tell, it's really hard to talk about some movies without spoiling them. I'll just say this. This movie reminded me of... It reminded me of two movies. Rosemary's Baby in the second half, and then in the first half, Pacific Heights with vampires. And if you haven't seen Pacific Heights, don't, because it's a trash film. It has some good ideas, it had some good moments here and there, but the overall idea is what I'm talking about. And then obviously Rosemary's Baby in the second half, of course, really reminded me of that. And I would rate this movie, I thought about it, it took me like 2 seconds, thank God. I don't like it when I have to think about ratings too much, because it comes off as like, that movie was bad. I can't really think of something bad enough to rate it. I think that this movie is pistachio pudding. It's a big bowl of pistachio pudding. It'll look like that green goop that they drink in the morning. You know, pistachio pudding is a weird type of dessert. It's a weird off thing, but it tastes really good. It's a nice little treat you can have. Pistachio pudding tastes really good. It's got that weird flavor, that goosebumps looking flavor, and it's got that off taste. It's delicious. It's something you don't have to take too seriously. It's not too heavy on you. That's what this movie was. It was a fun horror movie, and it was an actual good movie, because this year, 2021, has been abysmal for movies. It has really shown Hollywood for what Hollywood is, which is a system of trash. It is literally just garbage that they put out, and so you have to look for movies like Don't Let Her In to give you actual film to watch. And of course, let's get to spoilers. Spoiler alert, Amber, you think she's a vampire because it's pretty clear she looks like a vampire. She looks like Nosferatu. She looks like subspecies. But it's actually revealed that she's a demon. She's possessed by a demon, so I guess that's it. Is she a vampire possessed by a demon? Is she it's a little confusing on that aspect, because she looks like a vampire, but she's actually possessed by a demon. And then her ex-boyfriend, he comes, and he I guess he's another guy who's possessed by a demon. I'm not exactly sure, because he seemed like another vampire. And of course, you have the good vampire and the bad vampire, which is very reminiscent of subspecies. And I thought that the good vampire did a good job, because he came off as creepy at first, and then obviously you found out he's actually a good guy. He did a really good job with that. And then of course, Serena, Serena is the star of the show. If you watch this movie, it's because she was in it, and it's because you want to see her be this demoness woman who is creepy, and she really does come off as creepy, and like someone you wouldn't want to mess with. And then the basically the big plot twist that happens is that Serena fucks her and she fucks Amber's boyfriend, and it's like, oh, gross. Is this gonna be like one of those love triangle movies? Is this gonna be like some dopey, dumb romance bullshit movie? No. She did it so she could perform some ritual to impregnate Amber, and it's basically a Rosemary's Baby situation. And then of course she's feeding Amber green goop, which is like in Rosemary's Baby, where she would feed the neighbor would feed Rosemary the gross food with drugs in it. And so it was all part of the plan, and I really liked that. I thought that was really good. It was unexpected. There were a lot of unexpected things in the second half that helped it, instead of it being what it could have been, which was a cheap, crappy, it could have gone one way, and I really liked the direction it went instead. Oops. Sorry. Something popped up, and I thought no, it didn't. And then by the end of the movie, oh yeah, one thing I wanted to mention that bothered me. Amber is supposed to be a poster artist, and when they look at her computer, the poster that they see is for Corona Zombies. I thought that's the stupidest shit that I've ever seen. You're trying to make Amber this like impressive poster artist. Why don't you show an actual good looking poster? Because that Corona Zombies poster, it was trash. I didn't even watch the film. I'll probably never watch the film unless I feel like torturing myself and I feel a little sadomasochist and I'm like, turn it off, Corona Zombies, this fucking sucks. If I want to feel like that, I'll watch that, whatever that is. And the poster doesn't do the film any favors. The poster looks like a cheap, straight-to-DVD, Walmart bargain bin video, and you really should have come up with some subliminal poster, some poster with a demon on it or something to sort of subliminally suggest demon stuff going on, something like that, or something to do with neighbors, or maybe a subspecies poster. And then of course there's some more shameless promotion where they're watching a Puppet Master movie, and then I think they're watching a subspecies movie. I thought that's a little queer. Come on, you should have just shoot a new thing, shoot a new film, shoot something with these same actors, and then have it be like some funny thing that they're doing, and that would be a lot better than seeing, because really. You really think that people, honestly, who live in New York are just going to randomly pick out full moon movies to watch? No, they're not. They're not going to do that. If they do that, it'll be once in a full moon or once in a blue moon, more likely. They're not going to be watching full moon marathons all the time. So you should have just created something new for that as well, to make it more believable. And to there's lots of stuff you could have done with that, but it's not that important. It's not that glaring. In fact, I didn't even mention it in the main review, so it's really not an issue. But it's just something to talk about, just because it's something that you could take into consideration for future projects. And then finally, the plot twist is basically, I really loved how it ended. It really ended on a bad note. It ended on a dark, evil note. Amber is told to get the demon statue to the good vampire, or the good whatever he is, so that he can take possession of the demon, or I don't know what he's going to do. And then she's told to put salt boundaries up, which is a real thing. You put up salt boundaries for demons and stuff like that. And of course, I really liked what happened, which is Amber was so clueless that she didn't finish the salt boundary at the elevator, which was just hilarious. Oh yeah, I really loved the apartment building that they chose. I really loved that old look it had. It had sort of like a castle look to it. You know, it was perfect. It was perfect for this movie. It was a perfect horror environment. Perfect. And then she locks herself in her room, and her boyfriend flies home because he heard that she's having a baby. She's pregnant, and it's basically Serena kind of tricks the boyfriend into opening the door and screwing everything up and breaking the salt boundary. And then Serena comes in the room, and it's no more games, and she's gonna fuck shit up. Oh no, she's not. She's gonna do the unexpected and kill herself. She stabs herself, which I thought was amazing. Very unexpected. I love that. She stabs herself, and I guess she sacrificed herself so that she could possess Amber and just fully take control of the baby. And then Amber starts cannibalizing Serena's body. Or I guess Serena starts cannibalizing herself. And the boyfriend's just sitting there like, ah! I thought that was such a great ending. I love that ending. That was the best part of the movie. The very end, when all that happened, it was so much better than the cliche things that could have happened with this type of movie. So yeah, I really liked this movie. I thought it was good. It wasn't the best movie of the year. It wasn't the worst movie of the year. But this year has been a year full of shit. You got Bliss. You got Nobody. You got this. You got Riders of Justice. And that's it. Everything else is shit. So that's 4 movies that you got. This is one of the 4 good movies that have come out this year. So take that for what you will. Please like this video if you liked it. Comment. Tell me what you thought of this movie. Tell me about how much you like Serena and how she was like a great villain, or how she compares to Radu and all those other vampire villains. Because honestly, there's been some bad Draculas. Did you see Lon Chaney Jr. in Son of Dracula? That was awful. And Serena she could play Dracula. In fact, you know what you should do? Remake Dracula and put Serena as Dracula. I don't care if it's gender swapping. There's been so many remakes of Dracula. Just make Serena as Dracula and do it so that she can be the best Dracula since Christopher Lee. I mean, there's already going to be a feminazi Dracula coming out from that woman who made Jennifer's Body. So just make one of your own and make it really good. Have Ted Nicolau come back. Have the boyfriend come back. He can play Jonathan. He had that simpy cuck boy type of feel to him. Have Amber come back. She could be one of the Mina or Lucy as well. And do that, and I guarantee it'll be fantastic. People will love it. They'll say this is the best Dracula since the Christopher Lee films. I'm serious. It will be. So yeah, and please subscribe to our channel if you'd like to see more full moon film reviews. Obviously, this was a little long. I don't know. I just like talking about movies that are good. I like talking about things I like instead of just things I don't like all the time. Goodbye, everybody. See you soon.